Hello guys, the DB Grinder here, back at it again with another video, and this time I'm going to be going over regionals of the weekend of the 22nd through the 23rd, and I'm going to be going over some deck lists also, and I'm going to be going over a bunch of deck lists in this video. But okay, hopping into the first regional, we have the Des Manias regional. This had about 240 players, and it was in the US, and we can see that it was a majority of Malice in top 8, and then Ryziel, and then one Blue Eyes. We can also see that Malice did win in the regional. But looking over the deck list now for some of these, we can go ahead and we can see, seems like it's like pretty standard. Main deck Shifter though, main deck Fua, Ash, Nib, Impulse, Metaltronus, playing a lot of non-engine. But this is like pretty standard for the Malice deck overall. We just see there's no like Allure Darkness in the deck that some people play. We can see in the side deck we have like Strike, Crossout, which I don't really like Crossout in this deck, to be honest. I think that Thrust is just the better option overall. I think having the like siding Crossout with Lancia, and then what do? You side in Meow, and then like now you also don't stop Chaos Hunter, which is like a very real card right now too. I don't know. I just don't think this card's like that spectacular in this deck because you have to play so many awkward cards with it. And then, like, you're also leaving Fua in the main, so now you have, like, what, 3 bad cards in your main? Well, not in your main, but, like, in your deck when you side this and go in first. And then it also doesn't even hit Chaos Hunter, so it's like, is the card even worth playing? Like, I really don't think it's worth playing overall. And then the next deck, we have a Blue Eyes list. We can see them playing a pretty standard list overall. Main decking only 2 Wishes, though, playing the Ultimate Fusion over Majesty. Playing 2 Drill Beam in the deck, and playing 2 Metaltronus in the main. And then side deck, we can see that they play the Primite Scream, which this is a Summon Negate. This is really good against, it's honestly pretty good against a lot of decks, but it's really, really, really good against Malice. It really shines against them in a matchup where Drill Beam isn't that great. This becomes like a lot better. And then also, if you play 2 Drill Beam and you side this in, then like, if you draw either of these, like any of these 1/3 cards, and you have like a barrel, then you can search the other one, and then you can set up like Drill Beam plus Scream, which is really strong. Just adding like more interruptions to your end board is obviously a good thing. Then looking at the extra deck, we see Mirror Logic for the Slayer. We could see SP, no Lina, plays the Detonator for Metaltronus. Then the next regional is the Porto Alegre regional. This was in Brazil and had about 200 players in it. We can see that first place was the Chimera deck. Now, we don't have all the deck lists for this tournament, which is pretty standard for like South American tournaments. You normally don't get all the deck lists from it, or even like what decks they were playing. There's just not that much coverage in South America, sadly. But going into the Mermail list that did well at this regional, looking at this, we could see that they played 2 Poseidra in the main. They played the Heavy Infantry. They did not play Moon Glacia anywhere in the list, not even in the side deck, which is really interesting. I can understand if you don't want to main it and maybe use side deck it. But they also played Tidal in the main. They played the Barrier Statue in the main. They also play the Glutonius, which is really good to summon off of the Deep Sea King. That allows you to go into like your Synchro plays, which makes it a lot easier to just like combo and win the game. Then we can also see in the extra deck the Stealth Kraken that they're playing. Side deck, they have no Crossout on the list either. They're playing Thrust with some targets for it. They're playing Droplet, Dark Ruler, Harpies, Meow, some Lancias in the side deck. Now we have the Chimera list that got first place, and they play 13 non-engine in the main, including Called By, and then they play 2 Fua, 1 Perulia. I assume that's just because of like budget reasons. Otherwise, you'd probably just play like 3 Fua and then like no Perulia. They are playing the Azamina, the Elzeti Azamina in the deck, but they aren't playing like the Sinful Spoil package that we see other people play in it, where they play like a Deception, like a Witch, and then they're able to like make the end board a lot bigger as this card resolves. We can see that they're playing, Fiendsmith in it, sure, only 2 Sword Knight, cutting down on that, playing only 40 cards, side decking like XYZ Encore. This deck makes a Bawa really easily too. This card's really, really good. Okay, yeah, no like Floodgate type monster in the side deck or anything. The next regional is the Sao Paulo regional, which had about 300 players, and this was in Brazil. And we can see that Malice Striker ended up winning, but we don't have the deck list for that. But I'm going to go over the Buster Blader Blue Eyes deck because I have had a lot of people ask me for this deck to be posted as replays recently, but I haven't been able to find any of it. So hopefully, you know, maybe this makes the deck a little bit more popular. We can see that they are still playing the Primites in it while playing the Buster Bladers. A lot of people have been deciding between one or the other. People have tried like the Buster Blader stuff and the Invoke stuff as like a budget option to the Primite stuff. But the Buster Blader stuff and the Invoke stuff have gone up in price because they were the budget option compared to the Primite stuff. Also, only 2 Maiden? What? 2 Maiden is crazy work. 2 Droll, 2 Veiler, 1 Nib, 2 Talents, 2 Crossout, 2 Maiden? Like 1 Wishes, 2 Maiden? No way, no way, no way, no way, no way. Not real, not real. Side decking Judgment, D-Barrier. Sure, just, oh, I can't get over the 2 Maiden. I can't. Like, that card is so good in the deck. That card is broken. Now we have, especially, like, okay, I gotta go back to that. Especially, like, when you're trying to search, like, Buster Whelp, too, to, like, extra Normalist and combo with it. Like, you would want to open Maiden so that way you're able to search this card. Like, you don't want to have to choose between Buster Whelp or Maiden. Because, like, you probably just go for Maiden then, right? So that way you can actually do more of your Blue Eyes things, or do you just go for this? And, like, you just want 3 of this. It's, like, a good extender, too. Like, it's just such a good card. It's, like, an extender. It's a starter. It's what you want to draw. If they hand trap you, it's like, haha, I already drew this. Next regional is a Colombia regional that had 280 players. The Bogota. We see that Ryziel ended up winning, and Mitsurugi Ryziel got top 8. Just looking at the first place list, we can see that they were playing Pure Ryziel. They were main decking Fua, 2 Ghost Ogre, Crossout called by Metaltronus. Having Crossout for Metaltronus is good, especially for the pure build. Being able to stop them from banishing the Detonator face down. We can see that they played, Spirit Dragon, Requiem, Ghost Reaper, and Winter Cherries. This card's being more popular too. We've been seeing this in Iron Man's also. So maybe this is a card that you got to start looking out for some. I wouldn't like side this in for Crossout or anything. I don't think it's that popular. Like, definitely not that popular yet. But I think this is a card that you definitely need to look out for. Or maybe even potentially side. Like, I don't think you could actually really look out for it. I would just potentially side deck this yourself. Maybe test it. Soul Drain. It's like a Floodgate going first. Also really good against Malice. And also stops like their Mirror Logic in the Mirror Match. Stops the Fiendsmith cards. Okay, they have Cowboy for time. And then looking at the next regional, we have the T Gloopy Glapa Honduras regional with 250 people. We see that Mitsurugi got top 4, Ryziel Fiendsmith got top 8, and Blue Eyes got top 8. So looking at the Blue Eyes list, we can see that they only played, only 2 Ash Blossom in the deck. 3 Veiler, 3 Ogre, 3 Droll, 3 Nib, 3 Imperm, 3 Dominus, Purge. So playing a lot of hand traps, but only 2 Ash overall. Especially for a regional, I feel like more Ash is good because they're going to play against more, like, random decks. It's always nice to be prepared for those decks. They are playing the Crimson Dragon Cosmic Blazer, which we've noticed a lot of people cutting this from the deck as it's really just not needed, like, overall. They have the Malong for the Ultimate Slayer, but, yeah, they don't play Mirror Logic in the deck. Which is kind of interesting. I mean, you can, like, Spirit Dragon tag out into this, I guess, which is, like, something that you can do. I don't know if that's a better option than maybe just having Mirror Logic in the extra deck. They also play, like, Blue Eyes Twin Burst Dragon, which is an interesting choice. This should probably just be cut for, like, Mirror Logic to make Ultimate Slayer, like, a much better card. Then we have, like, Skill Drain, Warlords, and some strikes on the side for going first. Then the next one is a Nimes regional, which is a French regional with only 120 players. And this one we only have 1 of the top decks, and it's just a pure Ryziel deck, but it does play a little cool Time Thief package, which I think is, it's like a little unique. I don't know if I fully agree with how they built the deck overall though, because they play like Plasma Hole in the deck. I don't think you need this, especially if you're playing the Time Thief stuff. Like, you're already starting to add in, like, more awkward cards into your deck. I don't think you want to, like, add on to that by playing more awkward stuff. So I think they should cut this. I think they should just cut Thrust. I think you need to play more hand traps. I think they're playing like an okay amount. It's like what, 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 hand traps. Like, that's okay, but that's not like a great amount of hand traps. especially if you're gonna add in like all these time thief stuff. I don't think these actually like solve the problem of the deck or anything, but you can summon this by detaching an XYZ material from a monster you control, special it out from hand, and when it's summoned you search the trap, and then the trap can negate a spell or trap while you control time thief redoer, and then attach the card to this. So normally it's going to be a spell. If it is like a malice trap, then sick, you get to attach a trap to this, but normally it's going to be a spell, and then now you're able to use this effect to tag out and draw one, which it's not very great. It's not very great overall. It's like cool though. The next regional is the Catania regional. It was an Italy regional with 105 people. We can see that Blue Eyes won. Malice Fiendsmith ended up topping, and then there's also a Pure Rizio list that topped. So we can see that the Malice Fiendsmith list with a decent amount of Bestials in it. They were playing only 2 Engraver. They played Trap in main. They played 3, 6, 9, 12 hand traps outside of the Bestials. Played 42 cards. Side decking the Malong, Mira Logic for Ultimate Slayer. Wait, where'd they find the space for that? Oh, they don't even play Sequence. Okay. Okay, sure. So I guess just making the Fiendsmith. I don't know if I agree with that though. Making the Fiendsmith cards like a lot weaker. They do play Chaos Angel, which I kind of get wanting to play this card. It comes up with playing all these Bestials too. Like obviously it comes up with like just Engraver into Chaos Angel. But with the Bestials it comes up even more. I don't know. I feel like I'd probably like cut down the Ultimate Slayer targets and maybe just play it a little bit differently. Maybe just literally add like 1 sequence into the extra deck. I feel like it'd make your Fiendsmith stuff just a lot stronger. Then on to the next deck list. We have a Blue Eyes deck list playing the Kaiser Seahorse, which this card's also becoming a little bit more popular too. Oh wait, they also main deck Skill Drain, 2 Drill Beam, 2 Metaltronus, 2 Purge, a Talons. This deck list is wild. 1 Ogre, 2 Veiler, which I think like Veiler is like one of those hand traps that like sure in this deck specifically like it could be okay to like cut down on it. It's like a searchable hand trap, so like even if you didn't think Veiler was good in the format, you'd still probably play at least one of it just because of the fact that it's searchable. But I don't think Veiler's bad in this format though. I don't think it's like a crazy good hand trap, but I don't think it's bad. It's like pretty decent in everything, which is also something that you really want for a regional because you're gonna play against some wild decks at a regional. Then we could see extra deck, yeah, Detonator for Metaltronus, Mirror Logic for Ultimate Slayer. They do play the Lina, Typhon. I think Typhon's a really good card right now. I think Typhon's honestly like almost always a really good card. I really like Typhon overall. Some people say they only summon this card and then they lose the game, but they probably aren't using the card correctly, or they're just not playing enough hand traps to warrant this card being as good as it should be. Like this card is at its peak when you play infinite hand traps in your deck. And then next we have the Honolulu regional, which was a Hawaii regional that had about 80 people in it, which that's a very small regional. We can see Blue Eyes got first place and Blue Eyes got top 8. Now looking at the first place list, we can see that it is a extremely standard deck list. Airplane Pot of Prosperity, 3 Metaltronus. Is there something missing from here? It feels like there is. Maybe I'm tripping though. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 17, 18. No, this is standard. Okay. Extra deck, we have Chaos Angel. We do play the Moonlight Dragon. Plays the Detonator, White Bind. Wow, they play White Binder. Oh, they also play Ghost Reaper. Okay. I was gonna say, like, Metaltronus for White Binder isn't the greatest because honestly they can tag out of it a lot of the time with like a trap card or just Cryptor target, like Cryptor to go ahead, target a banish card, and then banish this. Plays Typhon, side decking Back Row Hate, Strike. Back Row Hate's becoming very popular, which in return makes something like Solemn Strike become a little bit worse, because if everyone's siding in Back Row Hate, then, you know, this card obviously loses value. Maybe this card could be something like a Solemn Judgment, which if they at least use a back row hate card, then you can at least Solemn Judgment the back row hate card and protect your back row, especially in a deck like this where a decent amount of your interruptions do come from the back row. Then we have the Houston Regional, which this was a 500-person regional. We can see that Centurion won the tournament. Blue Eyes did well, Malice, White Forest, which is crazy because this is a pretty big regional overall. Now we can see The White Forest list that got first place. They're also playing, wow, they're playing the Queen Azamina in the deck. That's crazy. 3 Ash, 1 Veiler. Yeah, it's literally what I was just talking about. Like, if Veiler's searchable on your deck, like, I feel like you would at least play one of it, which in this deck it is searchable. You can use this to search for a light spellcaster, so you can search for Effect Veiler. Then they play Droll, Bell, they play the Azamina Trap, they play, White Forest Trap, 3 Black Oat Laughs, Wanted Deception, Hollowed, 1 Black Witch, and then you can, like, get access to these cards, too, through the Elzetti. This list is interesting. Side decks, I mean, has the Mud Dragon, Albion, Dragoon stuff in the extra deck, Hope Harventure in the extra deck. I bet you they won a lot of games just based off the opponents not knowing exactly what these cards do. Because I feel like, they're playing the Dragoon stuff, Hope Harventure, now they're playing Azamina Trap, they're playing Queen Azamina. There's probably just like a lot of games where they were just winning because the opponents didn't know what was happening next and they were just interrupting horribly. Which isn't surprising. I feel like White Forest is already doing that. But then you add these extra pieces into the deck, and people are probably just like straight fumbling into it. We can see all the Malice hate, Ghost Ogre in the side, back row hate, Thrust. And then next list, we have Blue Eyes. This is nothing crazy in the list. Playing 2 Wishes, 2 Purge, a Talents, and a Pot of Prosperity. Playing the Azure Eye, Silver Dragon. We haven't seen people play this at all. Then we have Skill Drain, Judgment in the side. Yeah, nothing too crazy outside, really, like the Azure Eyes. And then now we have the Centurion list that got first place. And they played 2 Druids, 1 Baldrake, 2 Sornier. Centurion cards, a Regain, 3 Ultimate Slayer in the main, 1 Thrust, a Talons. Extra deck, not too crazy. They put the Goblin Biker Crazy Beast, which works really well with the Bestials, especially against like a Ryziel deck, being able to attach materials from their detonator to attach their spell to this card, then it can resummon itself, and it's a quick effect to detach from the card, so you can do it on their turn. Side deck Solemn Scolding. I really like this card. Like, I've always really liked this card, because this card is just like Judgment plus Strike combined, but it has to be your only set card, and it also really sucks if you draw 2 Solemn Scolding, but the odds of you drawing 2 of it isn't the highest. But I've always really liked this card overall, just because of how powerful it is. And then we have a Seattle Regional with about 250 duelists in it. Malice won it, Ryziel did good, Mitsurugi, Memento. Then we can see the Memento deck list with the Fiendsmith cards in it. Playing 3, 6, only 7 hand traps, then some Droplet, Metaltronus, and a Called By. Side decking, just all going second cards really, then some Talons. Malong for the Ultimate Slayer. Has Detonator for the Metaltronus. Has Mirror Logic in there also, which is good for Metaltronus, but also for the Ultimate Slayer. And then okay, so it doesn't look like they're playing like too much crazy stuff in the extra deck. Memento can get a good amount of interruptions just through its engine, especially with the main decking like Cranium Burst. It's like a lot of interruptions off just this one card. But a lot of people don't know how to interact with this deck very well, and you can win a lot of games just based off that. Next, we have a Malice list, which this is nothing crazy. Yeah, we see more Crazy Beast, Cerberus to be able to out Chaos Hunter. Then, okay, nothing too crazy. It's just like normal Malice stuff. Then we have the Morgantown Regional, which had only 129 duelists in it. This was the United States Regional. Then we can see a Blue Eyes list playing. Wow, they played Master with Eyes of Blue in the deck. They played 1 Fua. I'm guessing that's because of budget restrictions. 2 Dominus Purge. They played Primite cards. Played 2 Drill Beam. Side decking tons of Floodgates plus Ancient Fairy, because Ancient Fairy is a time card that you can use to go ahead and gain 1,000 life points, and then boom, you win in time. Which is, it's great. It's great that this deck has a time card. It's good for decks to have time cards overall, especially a deck like this that's new. People are going to be reading your cards a lot, so you might be going to time more than you will be in like a month from now when everybody knows the cards. They play 2 Roar, only 2 Wishes. They play the Kaiser, 1 Master, so some interesting choices for sure. And then now we have the two Jana regionals. This was in Mexico with about 350 duelists. We can see Malice won. Malice got top 4. Ryziel Fiendsmith top 8. Pure Ryziel top 8. And then looking at the Malice list, they play Dotscaper, which I really don't think you need this card. Like, I think this card's just awful. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, I don't even, like, make Red Ransom that much when I play this deck. And I don't know. I feel like this card's almost just win more. Unless if you're just, like, strictly trying to go for game. But even then, it doesn't even feel like you need this. It feels like you could just, like, outgrind the opponent in this situation instead of just trying to, like, spam down access code and trying to just, like, win the game right there on the spot. And there might even be, like, an alternative way for you to, like, OTK instead of just going into that. Then they play 2 Valor, 2 Dominus Impulse, Nib, Ash, Charmy. They play only 1 Allure Darkness in the deck. Side deck Shared Ride. Interesting. Metaltronus, D-Barrier, Detonator for the Metaltronus. Shared Ride is... I don't think this is probably the correct choice. It probably would honestly just be better if this was Mistaken Arrest. I think Mistaken Arrest is, like, a really solid card overall. People aren't expecting it. I guess both of these cards people aren't expecting. This card can also be Ash. Mistaken Arrest has, like, 0 counterplay. They will not be stopping it, and they just simply will not be searching at all. And then we have a Fiendsmith Ryziel list playing Plasma Hole, Meow in the main, Cross Out in the main. I think Plasma Hole in this deck is crazy. Like, I could, like, somewhat understand plug-in, but Plasma Hole? Crazy. Dugaris? What did they cut for that? They cut Moon? They cut Moon? They cut Moon from the deck? Oh, no. We gotta go to the next list. We gotta go to the next one. Madge Dieberg, Germany regional with 136 people. Tempai won, but... yeah, I was going to say, there's only 136 people. Tempai won, Pearly got 2nd, Malice got 3rd, Melodious got 4th, Bestial, Malice, Fiendsmith got top 8, Fire King did well. Oh, this was Dinkaboo, that's crazy. Dinkaboo got top 8 with Fire King, Yuna got top 8 with Malice, and then looking at the list, so this was the Bestial, Fiendsmith, Malice deck. But I've actually watched the deck profile for this, and they're not playing very many Malice cards. And the goal kind of is to, like, show a Malice card game 1, and then they side in, like, Lancia, Chaos Hunter, and stuff, and then boom! You're just not playing Malice. So now they have, like, a bunch of bad cards in their deck. They only play 2 Engraver, 3 Tracked. I feel like that might just be a backward ratio, I'm not gonna lie. Probably should just be 3 Engraver, 2 Tracked. Only 2 Lubellion while playing, like, Max Bestials, and then 2 Ogre, Ash, Nib, Valor, Imper, Metaltronus, playing 43 cards. Yeah, pretty much playing the extra deck the same that you would with, like, the Fiendsmith Bestial deck, but then on top of that having to have, like, Whitebinder, Lingeribo, because, you know, you do need to have your Malice cards actually do something in case these don't get interrupted. Side deck Psycho Reader, Fenrir, Strike, Lancia, Phantasme. Also, I feel like this just wasn't the side deck that I saw on the deck profile. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like they have it wrong here. I felt like they side decked the 3rd Ogre and then 2 Psycho Reader. Pretty sure that's what it was. Maybe I'm just messing up though. But now we have the Melodious deck. This is nothing crazy in the main. Nothing crazy in the side. Nothing crazy in the extra deck. Okay, this is like a fairly standard Melodious deck. Which is fine. Like, I don't expect this deck to be, like, built too crazy or anything. You just need to have, like, good technical play with the deck, understand your deck well, understand the opponent's decks well, and understand how to hand trap properly. And I think a lot of people also just don't know how to play against this deck, or, like, even if they know how to play against the deck, if you set up, like, Aria, Flowering, it can be really hard to out sometimes, especially with people cutting down on Exceton Knight too. And I think people are moving back to Exceton Knight because of Blue Eyes, but if people are still off of it, then, you know, it becomes even harder to out the board. Now we can see a Pearly deck. I don't think you need 3 White Cat. I really don't think you need... I think you could just do 2-2 and you'll be completely fine. But maybe they're playing 3-2 because of the amount of Bestials that are in the format. I mean, to be honest, I haven't played Pearly in, like, a year. Well, in TCG, I haven't played Pearly in, like, a year. So maybe they're playing more because of Bestials. They play Brow to draw, get value off the discard. They play Slayer, Dark Ruler, Talents, Foolish Burial Goods with Metal Foes Fusion, and the Black Olaf. So you can either get a draw or you can you know, set up an interruption or a way to like crack a board with Foolish Burial Goods. Plays Called By, Terraforming for Field Spell. Then looking at the extra deck, we play Double Plump, Happy, only one beauty. Playing Mirror Logic, Tri Brigade, Garua, Malong for the Slayer in the main. Plays the final Bringira, the End Times, which pops one monster you control and one card the opponent controls. So if they like imperm your Per Lily, you can chain this, pop your Per Lily, pop one of their cards, resolve the Per Lily. We saw people trying to play this in like a bunch of other decks too, like Rescue Ace and stuff. And then now we have the Kaluj Napoca regional, which is a Romania regional with only 48 duelists. But they definitely had some interesting decks top because it was only 48 duelists. So we can see a Blue Eyes list, and this is like super budget Blue Eyes. I guess like outside like Crimson Dragon. They even play the rank 8 one. Holy. Azure Eyes, they play Hot Red, play Triple Spirit, they play Triple Roar, play the Synchro Rumble, the Ultimate Fusion, they play the Ultimate Creature of Destruction, they play Jet, they don't even play Sage. Wow, that's crazy. What? They don't play Sage? That's crazy. I feel like you'd at least play one Sage. They play Triple Primite Roar, no other Primates because it's the cheap Primite card. This is like a budget list. Then we have a Yubel Fiendsmith deck, which I don't think Yubel is like the worst deck ever, to be honest. I really don't think this is like the worst deck ever. Oh, also it's kind of cool that Mannequin Cat Chaos Hunter to beat Shifter. Now you also have Chaos Hunter for Malice, so you can actually like side this and go in second sometimes too. Yeah, I don't think it's like the worst deck ever, but it's like, it's meh. It's not very great. It's very meh. They play 2 Nightmare Pain. That's something to note. Then we have the Fire King list, which I assume this is mainly just going to be like Dinkaboo's list. Yeah, it's not too far off. A little bit of changes here and there, though. But overall, very similar deck list. This deck's been, you know, popping up here and there. You should definitely know how to play against Pure Fire King if you don't know how to play against it. But if you played Snake Eye Fire King format, then, Snake Eye format, which lasted for like 10 months, then you probably know how to play against Pure Fire King. It's like roughly the same. They just don't have the Snake Eye cards to be like super explosive with. Then we have a Azamina White Forest with the Toy Box engine in it. They also play Angel Statue, a Silhouette Rabbit. The Zapper Shrimp, playing the Magatus, the one that you can contact fuse with Dweller, well, not with Dweller, but, you know, there's also Dweller in the deck. Thrust with D-Barrier, Sanctum, they also play the Azamina Trap in the side. But yeah, that is going to be it for the video. If you like me posting these regional, like, deck profile videos where I go over, like, a bunch of them, let me know down below in the comments, because I like looking at them. I like seeing what, like, the average players are trying to do with their decks, because that's not, like, exactly who you're trying to build for when you go to a big tournament, but you do need to know what the average players are doing, and obviously me going over replays every day, like, I get to see what the average player is doing a lot, too. Or like Iron Man, I get to see what the more advanced players are doing. But with that being said, the DB Grinder signing off. Peace. Have a nice day. Stay safe.